Once upon a time you laughed, and that was the last time you experienced joy as a child. Today's Mad Musing is Puppet Land, a storytelling RPG by Arc Publishing. It is a game about puppets, fantasy, and torture. You think I jest, but this is not the game for jest. This is the game for torture. They mentioned it 7 times. You must defeat Punch, the Maker Killer, and his army of nutcrackers and boys. The latter wear the skin of the Maker as a mask, much like the countless remakes of today's media that don the skin suit of superior works and masquerade as their equals. This is a bleak game for bleak gamers. I am Herr Welch, and wo ist mein Schlechterhund? Puppet Land was written by John Scott Tynes, the same man who brought you the cheerful and uplifting world of Delta Green. The game first appeared on his website in 1995. You remember that year because that was when we lost Eazy-E, Nigel Findlay, and Elizabeth Montgomery. It was not a happy year. It told the story of puppets fighting a hopeless battle against the evil Punch and the twisted children's fantasy of Puppet Land. It was a storytelling game using no dice. Not even luck could save you from your inevitable fate. It was one of the most original and innovative cries for help ever put to paper. The game was turned into an actual book in 2016 thanks to Kickstarter. It was 158 pages long and in vivid full-color art. The art was vibrant and disturbing, much like the nude human form, after explosive decompression. Jessica Hopkins was responsible for the imagery. It was she who wished to share her nightmares with the world, and this game gave us a window to those fears. The one thing you will immediately notice in art is the eyes, the never-blinking eyes. They follow you. No matter where you are, they are always looking at you. You turn the page, another set of eyes will gaze upon you. It is always the eyes. The game starts with a grim tale of how Puppet Land came to be. Once there was a loving maker who could create animated creatures with a kiss on the forehead, and love. I am not sure how he made the shadow puppets with a kiss on their forehead. There must have been numerous awkward moments that he did not want to talk about, as well as a great deal of contortion. But I have seen many people able to do just that, usually with levels of contortion that they charge a fee to watch. One puppet grew jealous of the maker's ability to create, and he decided to copy the maker to be his equal. His first effort was less of a labor of love and more first-degree murder. But at least he tried. When the maker returned to have a picnic with his creations, the puppet asked to be able to make more of his kind. The maker said no. The puppet reacted as any puppet would, by applying blunt force trauma to the maker's skull. Then he made his own puppets, using the skin of the maker as the material. Now Punch rules over Puppet Land, though some resist. That is the story, a tale of defiance against an evil that wears another man's skin, trapped in the eternal night because the maker cannot turn the crank that controls the sky above. The question is not whether they can defeat Punch the Maker Killer, but how many will die in the effort. Puppet Land is a storytelling game. There are no dice. You take the role of one of your 4 types of puppets, each with their own abilities and weaknesses. Creation is simple. After you decide what type of puppet you are, you answer 3 questions. No more, no less. What do other puppets notice about you? What can you do? What can't you do? Once you have answered those questions, you draw your puppet in the puzzle box on your sheet, and your puppet is complete, until the forces of evil tear it apart. The puzzle box is your life. Every time you are harmed, you fill in one of the puzzle pieces. If you try to do something you are prohibited from, you fill in a puzzle piece. If you forget you are a puppet, you fill in a puzzle piece. When all the puzzle pieces are gone, your puppet is dead. Not immediately, no. You keep playing that adventure, knowing you perish when it ends. You continue the adventure knowing the time of your demise. At the end of the story, all the damage to you is healed. Limbs are reattached, burned sections reappear, but you never get your puzzle pieces back. The scars will fade, the pain will not. That is the nature of Puppet Land. Everything is permanent. All you can do is delay entropy as long as possible. Eventually, entropy will grow tired of waiting. There are 4 types of puppets that you can play. The smallest is the finger puppet. They are fast and can dodge things thrown at them, but they cannot kick or catch things because they have no limbs. Even if you draw them on your finger, they do not work. You have no arms, and you must scream. Hand puppets can pick up items, dodge things if they have enough time, and they can carry items. But they cannot kick things as they have no legs, because of the colonoscopy they are undergoing in perpetuity. Shadow puppets are slender and fast. They can kick, punch things and turn invincible to a single creature by turning sideways, but they cannot get wet, as water kills them the same way as it washes away their sins. I am not saying shadow puppets are born of sin, but you know how they are made. Marionettes are the largest and strongest of the puppets, capable of fighting and carrying things, but they cannot dodge, as they are not the ones pulling their own strings. One central element of puppet land is time. You are familiar with this concept. It is the thing that devours all things: birds, beasts, trees, flowers, gnaws iron, bites steel, grinds hard stones to meal, slays kings, ruins towns, and beats mountains down. No matter how difficult, every adventure gives you a single hour to accomplish it. The puppet master will keep an hourglass on the table so you can watch your chances of success drain away one sand at a time, in an inexorable march towards failure. Once the last grain falls away, you will suffer the consequences. It does not matter where you are or what you are doing. You will wake up snugly in your bed and learn of the results of your failure when the game starts anew. And again you will have 1 hour. Puppet land is a story told to another person, and none of you are that person. Someone else is watching you play from afar, and you will never know who it is. Your suffering is their entertainment, so please suffer beautifully. Everything you say, your puppet says. If your doggerel does not advance the story, or reduces the conversation to mere prattering, your puppet will suffer. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but poorly chosen words will kill your puppet. Your unknown audience demands a quality performance. Speak in the third person, avoid contractions, and remember this has already happened. You are just relaying the aftermath. Keep these suggestions to heart, or the puppet master will rip away another piece of your puzzle for your insolence. There are no dice in puppet land. Your dictation determines everything. You must work together with your fellow puppets to succeed. Not one of you can prevail without help. The puppet that stands in the spotlight too long will draw the gaze of the nutcrackers and the boys. There is safety in numbers. As a group you can defend each other and perform the tasks the others cannot. And when the worst comes to pass, the more of you there are, the lower the chance that you are the one grabbed by the crocodile. You must work together when telling your tale. When your scene is done, you must hand it off to another player so they may continue the story. Work quickly, the hourglass stops for nothing. Do not linger on your action. The more time you take, the more sands you lose, and the more the spotlight draws the inevitable gaze of Punch the Maker Killer. Remember to stay in character more than anything else. If you must break character, stand. Tower above your fellow characters and far from the ears of the unseen audience so they cannot hear you. Not doing so risks having a puzzle piece torn from your sheet. Puppet Land was a cheerful place created by the maker to instill a sense of joy in his creations, a joy that Punch would happily beat out of them with his giant hammer. It is a land of eternal night, as the canvas above that scrolled the hours of the day when the maker was alive is now trapped at midnight. Inside the town, everything is a lie. Puppets eat, but they cannot digest. They must waste their time going through the motions of mundane tasks that mean nothing to them. Yet they must do them regardless. Maybe it entertains the hidden audience. Perhaps it is the will of the maker. They could ask him if Punch was not wearing his face. Somewhere in the land, Judy hides with the last tear of the maker. She knows it is magical and it will restore the maker, but she does not know how. Punch knows of her efforts and wishes her death more than anything else. Their goals are not mutually exclusive. There are many locales found in Puppet Land to explore, all fraught with danger. The land of milk and cookies is a magical lake with precisely what the sign says. The milk never spoils, and the cookies float on the top, enticing all to try and ride them. But be warned, the cookies cannot hold much weight, and the milk is deep enough to drown in. It takes quite a while for a puppet to drown, unless you are a shadow puppet, in which case, at least, your death will be quick. The candy cave is filled with unending sweets, hidden away from the puppets by the maker as a prize for them to find. But the candy is not what it seems. It does not stop growing. Soon it will spread to other parts of the land. Eventually it will encroach on all parts of Puppet Land, and the puppets will face a secret doom meant to be their reward. Such is the irony of the game. Down below is hell for the puppets. I do not mean that metaphorically, or rhetorically, or poetically, or theoretically, or in any other fancy way. It is hell. Therein lies the devil. The puppet capable of defeating Punch as long as Punch visits. The devil is not the friend of other puppets. While he hates Punch with all of his stone heart, he is more than happy to take any puppet that comes to him. The devil is patient and not picky. Those who encounter him are in danger of spending eternity as his plaything, while he waits for Punch to stumble into his trap. And while the devil waits, he has all of his guests to entertain. He loves to hear you scream, by the way. Especially if you can scream an F sharp. It is the only key his piano is missing. Puppet Land is a cooperative game. No random elements of chance can save you. You cannot blame your demise on Lady Luck. Your downfall will be yours and yours alone. The game needs players with a like mindset. It is not for everyone, especially those who lack creativity. If you are the type of player who only plays so that you may cause harm to the imaginary creatures that dare oppose you, you will find your puzzle pieces ripped from you in quick order. You must be able to think on your feet, remembering you are performing this game for someone else. You have to remember that. The punishment for forgetting your role in this game is harsh. You must select your puppet master to weave your tale with care. They must be fair, and they must be stern. You will fail in this game. It is predetermined, and your past mistakes will remain with you for the rest of your puppet's life. If your puppet master is too strict, no one will want to tell their story because it will only bring them pain. If your puppet master does not obey the rules, then the game will lose its appeal, as without the threat to the players, there is no thrill to the audience. And you do not wish to bore the audience of Puppet Land. That is the point of Puppet Land. It is a highly original and imaginative game, but only if your idea of fun is risking being torn apart by scissors or slowly drowned in a lake of milk. It is not for everyone, but for the people out there with a puppet fetish or a love of all things menacing, it can be an interesting way to spend an evening weaving your tales, 1 hour at a time. The game is available from their website or Amazon for $40. It is the price of 4 cheap meals. But which to buy is your decision. What do you value more, nourishment or entertainment? Our next Mad Musings is Hackmaster, the comedy game that moved away from the humor and more into the business of trying to avoid death. A game where its background can be as amusing as the game itself. Until then, ja, ich bin ein der schlechte Hund.